So this is gonna be a big one for you guys. As you are trying to figure out how to not do a shoulder, as you guys are trying to figure out, and subscribe and share to our video, Awkward. Hey guys, welcome to the Collective Movements. Today, we're gonna be learning how to do a shoulder roll, also known as a PK roll, as a safety roll. Before we get into how to do our shoulder roll, make sure you like, subscribe, and comment for future content. Also, feel free to comment down below what you want to see next. Now keep in mind, this is just a beginner shoulder roll, so it's just to get you started. To start, we're gonna pick which shoulder we wanna roll over first. So in this case, we're going to step forward with our right foot because I'm gonna roll over my right shoulder. After you step forward, you're going to squat down. You're gonna make a diamond with your hands, flat diamond, not like this. We don't want these fingers underneath your hands. Put your diamond down at a 45 degree, or like roughly where your belly button is pointing. So you're gonna put your hands out in front of your belly button, squat down, put your hands on the floor. After your hands are on the floor, I want you to turn your head in the opposite direction of your leading shoulder. So in this case, the right shoulder is our leading shoulder. So I'm gonna turn my head to my left as my butt goes over my head. Your butt is in the air. I want you to lean forward with that shoulder, making sure your shoulder is not necessarily like the very front of you, but it's leading the way. From there, I want you to push your hands into the floor, jump, and get your butt over your head and over your shoulder. You're going to gently lower your shoulder down to the ground. You don't want to hit your actual shoulder joint or your bones or your collarbone or anything like that. It's not that type of shoulder. You actually want it to go more towards your shoulder blade, past all of that, towards the meat, more of your back. From there, you want to roll to the opposite hip or butt cheek, whatever works better for you, whatever makes more sense in your brain. Skip over your spine. We want to have as little contact with the floor as possible with our spine because we obviously need it. Now your start position and your end position should be just about the same. A few common progressions that we can get into for this is, believe it or not, a forward roll. Now, it's going to be a little controversial here because I know in the parkour community, we try to stay away from forward rolls as much as possible because a forward roll is going to give you the most amount of exposure on your spine to the concrete. But in this case, it can provide a useful tool to help you understand how to get your hips going over your head. Well, the important thing is to make sure that we do this on grass or a soft mat or a mattress or whatever you happen to have lying around. Please, please, please do not do this on concrete or on a hard wooden surface or even just like hard dirt, making sure that your surrounding is relatively clear of any rocks or things of that nature. It can hurt and it will hurt a good amount. You'll get bruises. Once you've figured out how to go over your head, a good way to measure if you are doing your shoulder roll properly is to, as always, take a line, take a string, take a towel, take a something, and see if you can start with your feet on the line, roll with your hands on the line, over your shoulder to your hip, and finish with your feet on the line. Since I didn't bring any string or towels or anything with me, I'm actually just gonna use the shadow of this tree right behind me to do my precision roll. So I'm gonna start inside the shadow and I'm going to finish inside the shadow. One of the common mistakes that I see is people tend to go over their head too much. Obviously, because I teach a forward roll as a progression, this is one of the most common mistakes I tend to see. So you're gonna stand both feet on the line, you're gonna put both hands down on that line, and you're gonna be leading with your front shoulder. From there, you're going to go over your shoulder and try to finish both feet standing up on the line still. Your goal with this one should be to go from shoulder to hip, to finishing on the line. As you guys are trying to figure out how to do a shoulder roll, you don't have to be as stiff and as tight as you probably think you need to be. Relax just a little bit. Still stay tight, but don't be stiff, if that makes sense. The second most common thing that I tend to see is rolling from the same shoulder to the same hip. Now remember, we want to go from the one shoulder to the opposite hip. We're going to try to fix this one by actually twisting. And I know this kind of sounds weird. You don't want to necessarily twist and put your body inside a vulnerable position like that, but you're gonna have to learn how to get to the opposite side of your body somehow. Third most common mistake that I tend to see is people not getting their butt over their head and over their shoulder. So it looks more like a back roll, not a backwards roll, literal back roll, where you're side rolling, barrel rolling over your back. And the way we're going to fix this is by doing it on a hill. Basically, the idea is you want to get your feet and your butt higher than your hands. The fourth most common issue that I tend to see is during your stand up. Whenever I see this, is always because their knee is on the floor. You're using your shoulder roll to disperse impact. And when you're putting yourself inside these vulnerable positions, something a bit worse can tend to happen. Either you smash your ankle on the floor, or you chip a little piece of your knee because you're using it to stand up, and you're just don't put your knee on the floor when you're standing up. Please, it's bad. It's real bad. Don't do it. The way we're gonna fix this one is I actually want you to take your back leg, whichever it happens to be. In my case, this is my left leg. And I'm gonna squeeze my foot and my heel to my butt, actively trying to plant the flat of my foot on the floor. The fifth most common mistake that I tend to see is crossing of the ankles. The way this happens is when you roll over one shoulder and the opposite foot is in front. So just a quick reminder, whatever shoulder that you are doing your shoulder roll on, for me, it's gonna be my right. So I'm gonna put my right foot in front, and then I want to finish with my right foot in front. And the way we're gonna fix the fifth most common mistake is the exact same way as the fourth. You're gonna squeeze that heel to your butt. Can't cross your ankles if you're doing it correctly. And the sixth most common mistake is a little bit of a fear aspect. I see a lot of people who will slide their hands forward in an attempt to do their shoulder roll, when once your hands touch the floor, they are glued to the floor. They cannot move until you've gotten your butt over your head. If you move your hands further away from your feet, it makes it infinitely harder to try to get your butt over your hands, especially as your hands keep moving. Your butt can't really catch up to it, and you just end up flopping. A fun way to do this, again, is with a towel. Really, if you just want to do parkour, you just need a towel. So you can take a towel, you're gonna set it on the floor, fold it into a little square, place your hands on that towel. Your hands cannot leave that towel until your butt, and until you do your shoulder roll going over your shoulder or over your butt. You can't move your hands off of it. All right, so let's get into some of these common variations. You have a dive roll, do a shoulder roll precision. You can do the same thing on different obstacles, like a table bench, for instance, or a picnic bench. There are drop shoulder rolls. Stride to your shoulder roll, which is where you would run, jump off of 1 foot, land 2 feet into your shoulder roll. And if you want to challenge yourself, try doing it on both sides, jumping off of both feet, shoulder rolling both different directions. There are sideways shoulder rolls and there are backwards shoulder rolls. And once again, guys, feel free to comment down below what you would like to see. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up and subscribe. It really helps us grow as a channel if you like the content that you're seeing here. I also dropped some links down in the description below for you if you are interested in what camera I'm using, what mic I'm using. Also, there are some other good videos down there in the description for what to watch next, such as my backflip video or the palm spin video. So be sure to check those out if you haven't already.